It's August 5th, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, a nuclear proctologist.org, who's not sitting in his chair. Proper. Yank. Nuclearproctologist.org. That's because I just jumped into that format without realizing. And we have an incredible show, I think, for everybody today. Just an amazing show for everybody today. We're going to cover around 50 of these pictures. And I don't think most of you people who've been here for a while haven't seen these pictures yet. Look, my camera's unstable again. Okay. And so happy birthday to Jake. Woohoo. And Elaine was down in that hurricane in Florida area and had to do a lot of cleaning up and stuff down there. But I didn't realize that hurricane, what was going on. I wasn't paying attention. I was off doing this stuff, right? And so that was real. That was a real hurricane. That's the first time in 10 years or something they had anything that powerful. And I still haven't got up to speed on it. I still haven't been able to get up to speed in everything else I'm doing. Hi, Jake, Elaine, which is Shanigan Truth. Neil, Crystal. Hi, everyone. Hi, folks. And we got a crazy good show for everybody today. We're not going to waste any time. And so only 10% of the population returned for Fukushima. And is that audio going to be loud enough for everybody? Let's come back over for 1 second, make sure the audio is good for everybody. And I got no idea what I got done with that, so I'll go and play with that while we wait and see if everybody is happy with the audio. It usually takes us a few minutes to warm up. And that's kind of cool on a turn like that, is it? Should be on a turn like that or something. There you go. Something, and maybe a little bit smaller, Dana. No, not that way, but this way. You go like that. And kind of move it over there. And I can actually shorten that up if I want to. There's another way to do this. That side. Oh yeah, stretching it. Now move it in. Hi, everybody. And so the audio, I'm going to turn it up a little notch. Just a notch. And I didn't want it to stay live like it's doing right now, so I'm going to notch it back. Just give me 1 second. I'll go and check that noise gate and see if I can reset it. It takes a second, like you say. There you go, I set it. I'll go the other way. Mic check. There you go, we got it. Okay. Audio. Hi, Miss Milky, Jan Brooks. Maybe I should turn that more towards us because it's a little confusing when you look at it that way. Hi, everybody. And so we got a really interesting show for everybody today. Let's get on with it then, Dana. So we got a few headlines to walk through. Elaine, sounds okay. Okay. And if Elaine can hear it okay, then it's probably pretty good. Thanks, Jake. Good day, everybody. Miss Milky the Clown. You'll find links below. You'll also find, I put new links below to Lonnie. And Lonnie's, they're starting a new website, and that link is not live yet, but it's sitting there. And the links are to her, oh my goodness. My brain is going pop, pop, because I wasn't going to bring that up at this particular point. And so we'll just keep moving. Age of Fission show, and then her YouTube channel, and then her website. So Lonnie's greedy. She wanted 3 links. She's not happy with 1. And we accommodated her. Because, hey, it takes balls to ask that one. Trust me. And she's got them. Then some. In a good way. Not a bad way. Probably just, no matter what I say, comes out wrong usually anyway when it comes to everything but nuclear. I can't talk about any other subject without. Okay, let's get on with it, Dana. The show is still rolling, rocking, reeling, moving, grooving, and everybody just like, I'm not going back to Fukushima. What are you, stupid? Let's look at a little map of that, what they're talking about. So right there, right there where that little orange brownish section, NARAHA, that little tiny section, that little community. You see, it's inside this what they call, it's outside the 20 kilometer zone, kind of on that border. Half of it, 3/4 of it's inside, and 1/4 is outside. Okay, and so the reality of it being is that the 20 kilometer zone is irrelevant. The radiation doesn't respect borders. Don't care about no stupid borders. And they're talking about, they got a farmer there with 3 or 4 cows. So anybody eats that, it's just experimental, I would imagine. But anybody that eats it, because they got so few, then the scientists will want to chop it up, right? So 681 people had returned the top paragraph, second sentence from the bottom. And so that's 681 people that will get 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies, one of them, many of them, before the cancer shows up. But let me break that down and explain that part to you, because I know it's hard. Now, here's a picture of that town. Do you think they cleaned that up because they got those bags there? These are 1-ton bags. There's actually 30 million of these 1-ton bags. I know that number might sound crazy to some people, but let me show you that one. 30 million tons. These bags are 1 ton each. That's how many? 30 million. And if you put them in the back of pickup trucks, and so now I know today the video, even though it's in 720, I have a HDMI camera that we're using. Paulette Audrey bought us, right? And that camera, I spent $70 on it yesterday to get the cables, the day before rather, to get the cables to patch it in to this feed. And it doesn't have a power option on it, so it's running on battery. But what I was hoping to see was like more realistic visual of me rather than the other camera that I'm using. And so we got some really amazing stuff coming up here. But 30 million 1-ton bags is what we're talking about. And that prefecture, Fukushima, is where they picked them all up. And NARAHA town in Fukushima, and I'll show you that one more time on the chart before we move on. You can see NARAHA is right on that 20-kilometer border. Now, multiple reactors, et cetera, but we got some really interesting stuff coming up. We're just going to cover a half a dozen headlines of that area, of that community. And that the community itself, NARAHA, is Machi, is a town located in the Futaba district, Fukushima Prefecture, Japan. And the town has an official registry population of had, that's right, and a population density of 68 per person per square kilometer. That's pretty interesting. Although the current actual resident population is much lower. Yeah. Well, instead of saying the community is evacuated because they had this much radiation, this is on the sidewalks. Look at it. Yeah, but there's no radiation there, Dana. You only need 1 atom in your body, and we're not going to cover that part today, but we're going to cover, it's already as bad as Chernobyl. This is, that's the exclusion zone. That's that community we're talking about. These headlines all coming up are from that same community, or it's all from the community, rather. I saw the splashing ass after explosions, baby cows dying one after another. Yeah, because look at what's there. Right? Does anybody doubt that headline is false when you look at they cleaned up that whole area because this shit happens, see? So why are people back there? But hey, let's talk about this, though. Mayor near Fukushima, I lost almost all my body hair from the chest down, nosebleeds, and this is widely reported throughout Japan, including Tokyo. And they call it fear-mongering down there. Flakes fell like snow after first Fukushima explosion. That's right, after the first one. But it never stopped coming out. If that was just that first building and it never stopped coming out like it's done, it would be an extinction event for the Pacific Ocean. And it would destroy Japan. A melted reactor will destroy your country. A single reactor that melts down, if it's melted down for, just blowing up, catching fire and blowing up, that's game over for your country. Because that's why we have terrorist laws and nuclear holding sites. We don't have waste repositories because it's so freaking dangerous. We got nowhere to put it for millions of years. Fukushima monthly fall is higher now than 8 months ago in June. Yeah, that's why you're picking up all those bags. This is all in that community we're talking about today. Particles were falling on us from the sky. You got any idea how much trouble these people were in? It doesn't matter they evacuate them. Well, it helps, trust me, getting out of the environment. But they got deadly doses. And these people will have heart, liver, lung, respiratory, pituitary gland. They'll have Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, diabetes. Long time. Very long time, mister. Before cancer, well, certain types of cancers can show up, like leukemias. These people would be susceptible to that one. You wouldn't study these people for thyroid issues. You study these people for 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies, illnesses, injuries, yeah? Let's keep talking. Fukushima monthly fallout now 10 times higher than last September. Another headline say, because they 368 microsieverts. That's like, let's break that down for somebody, everybody, anybody. Hang on, I'll bring it up first. Get a calculator out. Oh, Mr. Calculator, calculate some number. Oh, what a good thing. Now you can't even remember what the number was. 368. Okay. Y'all mate 368. Hey, buddy, how you doing? 368. We don't like you at all times. 150 counts per minute. Let's get a rough idea of the counts per minute. 55,000 counts per minute. Look at my Geiger counter, 106. If there was 55,000 on my Geiger counter, I wouldn't be here. Trust me. I'd be exit stage left. And nothing better get in my way because I would run it off the road on the way there. So 55 becquerels is an evacuation zone. What the frig is 55,000? Why would you go back there? Why would you allow anybody to go there? How could you do that? What kind of world, destructive world do you live in? Why do you hate people so much? You know what? We know why people go in there to feed the pets? Because all the insects and animals and everything else, the majority of them died. There's nothing for them to eat. They didn't die because the pets ate them. They died because the radiation killed it all off, killed off the biota in the ground itself. Yeah, they kill each other. I know that, but I'm not saying it's not like you've eaten a wild. Eat birds all day. They eat grasshoppers all day. They eat butterflies all day. They eat carpenters. They eat 30,000 species of insects, besides all the little froggies and everything else. We can't do that in the Fukushima prefectures. So 55,000 becquerels. Okay, Dan, it's only 55,000 becquerels. Well, in France, they would get rid of their food at 17 becquerels and put it on a nuclear waste site, or nuclear material, waste. In Germany, if your food had 5 becquerels, you got rid of it on a nuclear waste site. You stored it there, might be for thousands of years, because it had 5 becquerels. 368 microsieverts. Game over. That's all you have to do. Start breathing it in, it's game over. Yeah, but it takes 10, 20, 30 years for the cancer, but everything else shows up long before that. So why are they always talking about cancer? To trick you, to deceive you, to manipulate you, to fool you. New studies on mystery to keep you fighting, keep you separated and divided. Fuel core material from the Fukushima plant detected in the same town where they're trying to move people back in. And a 20-kilometer radius, everything north, including Tokyo, north of Tokyo, should be evacuated permanently. All the way up to Osaka. And then from Osaka to the very south end, should be evacuated as soon as they can. They should move everybody over to Canada, move all of Japan here. Sounds daunting, don't it? But we should do that. We could do that. Japan. Move them over to Canada and give them big chunk of land in Canada. Canada got more land you can shake a stick at. We can handle all the little Japanese people. Okay, let's keep going. I got a couple more headlines and we get into all these crazy pictures today. See, these pictures, man, they freak me out. That's the misery machine. That's nuclear. Why would nuclear put... Because you got no choice. These plants right on the ocean. Well, they want to destroy the coastline with nuclear. But if they got all the waste sites throughout the whole coastline, right? You got 400 kilometers of zone that was crushed. And I'll show you some of that documentation coming up. Because otherwise people are, Dana's saying 400 kilometers of coastline was torn up. He doesn't show any proof. Dana don't show any proof. That's why I got to do the things I'm doing. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying why I am the way I am. Former official in Fukushima, this is a disaster of all humanity. The entire world. And it's now bigger than anything anybody can cope with, or any country can cope with, or any industry can cope with, any corporation. A corporation is in charge of the destiny of the planets. Because your governments are monsters. Your governments that are currently employed there are disgusting parasites upon our society, are vicious vultures upon our assets, are uncompromising idiots that will do anything for the government brotherhood, rather than the citizens who are paying the wages, gave them the authority, equipment, the monetary, and the ability to do the things that we want it done, not the things that they're doing for corporations. They're supposed to be taking care of our country, not taking care of corporations and hiding the devastation of the Pacific Ocean. Taiwan come out and told their citizens. Everybody else hit it. Mass death of species found around the Fukushima nuclear plant. They seem to have disappeared. Little or no reproductive success. It is evident biota around the nuclear plant, and we've seen that in Chernobyl. That's for sure. It had been affected since the nuclear. And Chernobyl was worse than what they're telling us. It's worse than 30% meltdown, but that's the numbers, and everybody works with those numbers, so you can use that against them. The mutations have begun in Fukushima. Birds found blind, 2 more headlines, unable to fly. Birds in the tailspin 4 years after Fukushima. Proverbial canary in a coal mine. Birds with mutations popping up all over in contaminated areas. This is all mainstream media headlines. This is all aggregated, so it's easier for me to utilize. And it's set up in a not perfectly salacious, but surges in babies being born with extra arms and legs after Fukushima. And, people are gullible, or they don't want to speak out, or they hint around. Nurses say many are getting abortions to avoid it. After Chernobyl, was 100,000 abortions recorded. And the nuclear industry says, they were just stupid parents, kill their children for no reason. When just to hide the horror of what happened. You'll find them out there right now. All your academics will say that. All your academics that you go and put your faith in, every one of them, without fail, even the ones that are supposed to be on our side, every single one of them, you can find incredible flaws with their story, and then it leads you down the same conclusion that they're the opposition, they're the paid opposition, controlled opposition. I don't manipulate anybody. I explain it to you. I'll break it down for you. I put it in the context for you. I give you some way of visualizing the actual enormity of what we're talking about. Okay, so those bags, 30 million of them, the reason there's so many of them is not because the reactors look like that, no. Even though that's the official picture. And here's another official picture of the same building. See, it actually looks like that. Right? And then when you look at the comparisons, and just do a comparison of one of these where I slide them together, if I can ever find that again. Number 3. He's 2 million times worse than any reactor on the planet. He's not a team player, is he, at all? No. And just going to slide them together. I was fooling around, and I was capturing it so I can watch what I was doing. And then I was like, yeah, I think I'll just publish it because I want to go to bed. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. But I'd done 3 of the reactors before I gave it up. That was reactor 3C. And so the reactor cores at the top of the building, there's 6 reactor cores in each building. That was one of the things. And here's the next one. I'll find it at some point. There it is. Find that. So let's go back to that picture. We're going to pick up here in a quick second. Does that not look daunting to you? Would you Can you imagine waking up some morning and seeing that? No, because you would have seen it happening. You would have heard it happening. You would have felt it happening. You wouldn't have just woke up in the middle of the morning and found it, right? Well, this was 400 kilometers of the coastline. It looked like this. And the numbers you're looking at are the people that died. That's why we can say that it looked like that, because they died from that. We know that. And we know that the power plants, 15 of them, reactors, I'm sorry, not plants, but reactors, 15. And each of these buildings and the site itself are full of radioactive material. It's full of radioactive material, but we're led to believe that the tsunami didn't affect all the radioactive material, all the nuclear waste sites along the 400 kilometers of the coastline where that happened. But why you got all that stuff for? Why you got 30 million of those bags for? So if there was a nuclear waste site there, is it still there? In perfect condition and not leaking? No. If there's a, here's a before and after. And this is interesting. I'm gonna zoom in on both of these, so I'm gonna switch to this mode, so you can see the top of my head better. No, so you can see the reactors better. So this is before. Just let me duck the Geiger counters here. Anybody want to get a screen capture later of the before picture? I'll back it up a little bit more before we get the top of my head. I can get rid of me. Oh, that's right, so it don't matter. Okay, well, I'll leave it there for 1 second. That way people come back later or an hour or whatever and get themselves a screen capture. And then I'm going to bring up the after picture. And then I'll bring up both of them again for you. Okay, now let me zoom right in on these buildings. So the one by the third stack, between the third stack and the second stack, is Unit 1 in the far with the sarcophagus. This is a Kevlar sarcophagus built around it. Unit 2 is standing on its own, but it's completely gone. Unit 3 is in the middle of the destroyed. Unit 3 is the more greenish one. And then Unit 4 is right there. And Unit 5 and 6 is down there in the corner. Let's bring that up. And that's Unit 5 and 6. Now, Unit 5 and 6, we know they had fuel in the reactors. We know that these buildings didn't get water, right? And we know that when that happens, they melt down shortly after. We know they didn't get water, and then we're going to come back over. They didn't get any water. I'll bring up that Geiger counter again in the corner. They didn't get any water through that whole area. Let's come back over here. Are you confused as I am yet? So they picked up, see, you can't clean up radiation per se. You can't get it out of the tree. You can't get it out of the needles, pine needles of the tree. You can't get it out of the roots. You can't get it out of the grass. But what they done was they went in and cleaned up some of it. And that was a picture of a dead whale in Alaska. And all the whales that died on the coastline were emaciated. I just wanted to remember to talk about that part just once during this stream. And so the next set of pictures coming up is this onslaught, and there's around a dozen of them, of these bags piled just in random places, or just endless. There's 30 million of them. There's over 10,000 dumps just in the Fukushima prefectures like this, 10,000 spots just like this with 30 million bags. 30 million bags in 1-ton trucks, bumper to bumper. There's 5 lanes of traffic right around the whole planet. I'm going to light up a cigarette. Don't panic. Don't have a seizure. Don't crawl in a corner. Defecate on yourself. It doesn't have 7,000 chemicals. Dana, you don't have to be so rude when you say it. I'm not. I'm just being Dana. Just trying to lighten the load on some people's shoulders, I'm sure. So if there's a nuclear dump right there, how do you think it fared? Yeah? There's a dump anywhere there. That's as far as in I can zoom without taking a screen capture and continue to zoom again, right? Pretty slick, Dana. 30 million one-ton bags of radiation that are going to destroy themselves in the next couple of years. I'll just bring up the picture instead of the smoke. So 30 million one-ton bags. My cigarettes don't have 7,000 chemicals. These are before and after of the airport. It's a satellite picture. But I know it's not high quality, but I thought it was an important picture to show today. So if there's a nuclear waste dump, and there probably was right here, how do you think it fared? Where do you think the nuclear waste dump went? And a nuclear waste dump is just where, because they've been running the 54 reactors in Japan. Japan is only the size of California. And Japan has the most reactors per small area. And so they have little nuclear holding sites throughout the whole area because out of the 150 contractors they use, most of them are Yakuzus, the mob. Nuclear's finished the planet, destroyed the planet permanently. This was reactor 6. You don't get too many pictures of it, so I grabbed it. And this one is a tsunami whipping in your town. Ripping through the town, boys. Ripping through your town. And so that's why everything looks like that, see? Right, and so then that's why these people died throughout the whole area. And see that? That's where all the nuclear power plants, they're in the same spot where all the people died. Where all the people died, they died because that came through their neighborhood, right? Because that's their community. So let's come back over to these other pictures. I got to throw them out there, you know me. And look at the dents in the bow of that boat. Hang on. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Dana, fix it. Don't want the connotations, that one haunting me. Someone will chop that one and say, Dana's like Jimmy Savile. Look at it. He even says it like Jimmy Savile. Oops, looks like my camera, the HD, the DSL, because I can't plug it in. I didn't set the timer on it this morning, I guess. It just crapped out on me. So while we're waiting for that to make its way around, I'm going to play a minute clip and just set the timer on that so that doesn't happen to us again. I got a 1 minute clip. Let me zoom back out. Let me get rid of that extra camera. How is that going to work? Oh, I can bring up it this way. And I'm just going to turn the sound off and fix that camera so it doesn't shut off on me again. You seen it in the corner. I was supposed to be sitting there that time, but I wasn't. So we'll just play this clip. You might want to watch your audio. I'll adjust it on the fly here. It's only 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'll have the camera sorted out by then. I put this clip out the weekend. And here we go. Prime Minister Abe, please. Yeah, Abe, the wall at Tepco is melting. Sorry. Tepco. At the Fukushima nuclear power plant. It's in north end of Japan, Abe. Yeah, it blew up about 5 years ago, Abe. Fukushima nuclear power plant, Abe. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister. Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of it, but a nuclear power plant blew up. A whole bunch of them. No, I'm not going to come over and shave your legs. How dare you? I just personally got off the phone with Prime Minister Abe, and he'd like to say that you guys are his favorite Fukushima 50 out of the last 3,000 groups. Now, your job is to pee on the ice wall and see if any leaks occur. We're expecting a big typhoon. Oh, hang on, there's a bit of a current. I gotta get me balance. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I think that with 40 million becquerels in a kilogram, You can see me, there's several 100 pounds right here. That the Fukushima radiation, the ice wall might be too late. We might have already killed the planet. Okay, looks like I got it worked out. Kinda. Let me fix that. Then you always smurfing shit up, you know. And once again, using a different camera today, so everything is going to play games with me. Let's keep going. That's okay. We don't mind it. How's everybody doing this morning? That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to keep going with those pictures. And we left off here. And this is before and after, during the tsunami side of the event. And it pretty well speaks for itself. Don't get me out of the picture for a second. Like you say, my cigarettes do not have 7 tentacles because I'm not willing to trust the government. And why should I when there's 7,000 chemicals in your cigarette and they tell you nicotine causes cancer? Why would you trust anybody like that? And so if there was a nuclear waste holding site here, and there probably was, then where is it? How are you going to get power into the nuclear power plant if it's close by here when you had that ran through its neighborhood? So then you lost reactor 5 and 6 at Fukushima also, and you lost many other reactors along the coastline in that case, yeah? Well, sorry. So you lost right along that whole coastline all those people, and there was all these power plants, and you couldn't get power in if you wanted to because the coastline looked like this. And like if there's a nuclear waste site here, it got torn apart, right? It got destroyed. Yeah? Nuclear holding sites, the nuclear power plants themselves. See, it's hard to get the picture of the power plants because of the terrorist laws and everything else. But we got 5,000 pictures of the accident from Fukushima. A couple of thousand of them are linked below my video, right directly to Tepco's website. I'll kill that. And so nothing survives. How could it? Think about what's going on here. There's a nuclear, that ran through your power plant, look. That's what happened to your power plants through that whole coastline, see? That's why there's people died. The red are the people that died, the yellow are the people that are missing. And they're missing because this creature came through their community and through their country for 400 kilometers. I got no idea what I got done there. There's a better look. So this community, even though it's destroyed, you see houses there in the bottom middle, they're turned upside down on his head, boats way in town. Every window is gone through every building because there's a few windows look like a hanging down. This is how desperate they are. They got 10,000 spots and nothing is sacred. Sorry. Choked out on the tea that time. Keep going here. So 30 million of these bags. 30 million. 30 million, 30 million, 30 million, 30 million. 10,000 of these domes. Because there was so much radiation. Because it was moved all over the coastline from different reactors. Up to 10 reactors melted down fully. And that another 5 had serious issues that might be just as bad as Fukushima. That's the reality we're dealing with. Now, each of these buildings just on their own at Japan, let's pop right back over for that for 1 second. See, this is reactor 3. What part about that is that people think is normal? What part about that is normal? When they claim it's like that. These are the official pictures. At the press club, of all places, they claim it's like that. In Washington, D.C., about 3 months ago, that's the picture he showed right here. Claiming that it was inside of there. Even though they tore it all down and they put a structure that doesn't touch the building alongside of it. And that the buildings look like this, the reactor core is in the very top. You see that center bulb at the top? That's yellow. Where's the two now? It's there on the ground. Let's take a quick zoom in on that. Do you think that is attached to the top of the reactor core when it's sitting on the deck there? When you know where it's supposed to be, right? You know what it's supposed to be. Wait for it. It's supposed to be like that. That's reactor 4, and I can show you that comparison some other time. That's unit 3. The reactor core is right up there around, who knows how high that is really, but 2,000, 3,000 feet up. The actual core blew out of the building. There you go, that's reactor 4. Let's play that. It's only a 10-second clip. No sound, but. So the reactor core is gone. The yellow bulb is on the side. The reactor pools are gone. That's 6 reactors gone. There's 5 reactor cores in the building in storage from 10 years before they can take it out of the building and put it on the ground in the common spent fuel pool. When they put it in the common spent fuel pool, what do you think happened to it? Come back over. What do you think happened to those common spent fuel pools throughout that part of the country? What do you think happened to the common spent fuel pools? Because of 400 kilometers of the coastline where all those people died, looks like that's that before after we looked at. Let's one more look at this again. Symmetrical buildings perfectly, and then totally destroyed buildings. And so am I, you know. It's like, oh my goodness, what have we got done? And how many tanks they got on that place, right? 30 million bags, 1,000 tanks. You had fuel pools throughout the country, that area where this hit 400 kilometers of the country. These are different parts of that 400 kilometers of the coastline where all the people died. That's all you're looking at is the damage through 400 kilometers of the coastline where all those power plants were too. That's why Fukushima was destroyed. Do you think for 1 second the same thing didn't happen to the other power plants? Are you really that gullible? Are you really that naive? Even though I'm showing you this endless supporting documentation, ask the victims of their loved ones, did they drop dead in the street? No, they were smashed. They were smashed up. So if there's any nuclear material being stored there, and there probably most likely 90-odd% positively was, then what happened to it? They burned, whatever they dug up was highly radioactive. They took to the incinerators. They abandoned the town, right? They didn't do it for something to do. They done it because it was really bad. I don't know why I can't get that green to disappear. There you go. It's a little bit better, maybe. They abandoned the town, not just because of radiation, but because this incredible, inconceivable, unbelievable, horrific, catastrophic, apocalyptic event was taking place. It must have seemed like the end of the world. It must have felt it was the end of the world for 20,000 people, and for everybody that ever lived in those areas or have graveyards they can't return to. Just that on its own is just unbelievably devastating. It's inconceivable, just that side of it. There was people, 90 elderly were left in a hospital, dementia patients, to fend for themselves when this was coming through. In just one hospital, people just ran. What would you do, Not everybody ran. People sacrificed and died trying to save people throughout this place. Those stories we'll never know about, see? I don't think. Who's going to tell it when you had this event? This was an event. But it has impacted everything forever and ever. And every day these reactors are not stopped is 1,000 years less on this planet will have, is 1,000,000 years less this planet will have. We've had an event, we better get busy. Think about this. 30 million. These are all different pictures from different places, every one of them. None of these two pictures, no total pictures are alike. They're spraying reagents, and this is the cover up the chemical, and you can't neutral the radiation, the particles, the rods, the fuel rods are blown all over the place. I think that's clean. It's carving 2 eagles and a beer, 2 eagles buzzing a beer. Just double check. And I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. There we go. Okay, I'll just send them a K. Okay, I'm streaming. There we go. It'll probably go K back, but I'm not going to check. So they got the homeless. These people are dead. They're dead. They died probably 2 weeks later, and if they didn't die that day, they were getting directly. See, the suits don't protect you from neutrons. The suits don't protect you. Neutron shine, neutron burst rather, or gamma shine, or alpha shine, or it doesn't protect you from these neutrons, these X-rays that are coming from the fuel rods. And so if I got a pound of fuel rod, it'll kill 1,500 people in the theater. Think about that. In about 20 minutes. And I got something here will really help you understand it if I can ever find it. Not that I can remember anymore, but let's keep going. So they're spraying this stuff there. Those guys are dead. They're homeless. They're the destitute. They're the immigrants who don't speak the language. That's why Japan is claiming they have a low immigration. The lowest immigration is not true at all. They're bringing them in like you can't believe. They have all kinds of companies out there in different countries sending people into Fukushima who are illiterates. But you don't have to be an illiterate to be tricked. You just got to be a foreigner who don't speak Japanese and can't read the signs and don't understand, and put your fate in places like the University of Victoria or Woods Hole or any of the major institutions out there. These are predatory institutions. These are vicious thuggery. So this was an interesting picture. You can see, I'm not sure how many tanks. They don't have that. They have like 600 tanks or something in this picture. But you can see the progress on the reactors. In the bottom right-hand corner is reactor 1. Let's find another way to zoom in on that. In the bottom right-hand corner is reactor 1. That's the Kevlar sarcophagus. So what happens is now the stuff is just... Imagine you're in a smokehouse. You know how a smokehouse works? And you put your stuff in there, and then you smoke it. The building fills up with smoke constantly. And everything in there has that, if you're using like hickory branches or whatever the case may be, we'll get this, is permeating into the material. Well, that's what's happening inside the building with radiation. The building becomes radioactive itself immediately. And long term, it starts emitting neutrons and gamma and alpha burst. And these are different than atoms. These are like an X-ray multiplied by 1,000,000. So it starts melting your organs, but it takes you about 2 weeks to die if you walk past this thing within 300 or 400 feet. It's the same thing for Unit 2. That's why they can't do nothing with it. They won't even touch it. They won't go near it. It was over 1 million sievers outside of Unit 2. And that's from the fuel rods from this building over here. But Unit 2 was 1 million sievers. 5 sievers will kill you. It'll melt your organs right on the spot. And that's why all the robots are dying there. This is Unit 3. And you can see they stripped everything down with robots and everything. And then Unit 4. Now you can see in this version right here, even though they got that big chunk extending over, it doesn't touch each other. They're meant to put a crane in the top one. Yeah? But if they put a crane in it, and I got to zoom back out. But you can see how destroyed it is underneath all of that stuff. If you put a crane in it, it's still not going to look like that, right? And so let's zoom in on that one more time. Number 4, you're looking at right now, in most of the pictures, number 4. And so look how destroyed it is on the bottom still today, right? You can see, because they can never get in there and fix it, right? And yet they claim it's like that. Even though you've seen what's going on there. So you've seen that, and when you zoom in on number 4, you understand that picture that you were just looking at is what you're looking at down close to the ground, see? And so they couldn't fix it, they couldn't get in it, but what they done was they come out and lied to everybody and pretend that they were, and then all the media ran with it. Oh, I gotta click on it. All the media ran, we're gonna go back over to the pictures. All the media ran with it. Here's Seth Dorn's claiming he's inside.
Of the decommissioning work taking place here.
And his whole documentary about being inside of Unit 4 at Fukushima Daiichi Military Industrial Complex's Directed Energy Weapons production facility that is now out of business. Even though Tucker Carlson's crew came out and said they're going to start those reactors again. Because, it's a long story I won't get into, because a mayor decided not to run close by, and therefore the Tokyo shares went up 12%. And then Tucker Carlson, to want to make more money off it, came out with salacious headlines saying they were going to restart. And so he's in a fake building. He's inside of this building. But Tucker and them come out and said they're going to restart that. Right? To get investors to invest in Tepco so they can sell their shares, make a bunch of money. Let's keep going. We're running out of time, so I better start boogieing through the rest of the pictures. We haven't got that many, so we'll get through them. 30 million bags. 30 million bags. 30 million bags. And this is the death of the planet as we know it. 30 million bags. The reason there's 30 million bags is because this is an event, and that everybody is hiding it, or everybody's trying to control the information. Everybody's trying to make a buck off it and not tell the world, not allow the world to understand it fully by trying to hide the information. What I'm showing you is the documentation. It's the most important thing you can imagine. It allows you to understand the enormity, the actual how far and how much it really truly encompasses. When you consider that is the same as 400 kilometers of the coastline is what I'm documenting and showing you today. Think about these reactors and how destroyed they really truly are. And that Tucker Carlson, the Daily Rag or the Daily Caller, is saying they're going to restart these buildings. Therefore, you should invest money in Tepco so they can sell their stocks at Daily Caller. Make $1, say? So Chernobyl was 600 kilometers away from the ocean. Fukushima is right smack on the ocean. The ice wall can't protect anything. The ice wall can't stop that. And so what they're saying now is they're going to start dumping this water. That was yesterday in today's headlines. Big headlines. They're going to treat it. They don't know how to treat it. They can't solve Hanford. They can't solve Indian Point. They can't solve any reactor on the planet, any nuclear waste site, any super site. They can't create a repository, but yet they claim that they're going to treat the water and release it. Now, see, the big problem is that's only the fishermen is the only reason they're even doing this. Most likely it's all gone. Most likely they already released it. They've been burning it in the incinerators throughout the whole country. They've been dumping it in the lakes, the streams, the estuaries, the rivers, and directly into the ocean for 5 years. It's running off through the waste sites. It's running off through typhoons and snow and everything else. Most of it was swept out to sea anyway. They know that. That's why they are like they are. They just don't want to tell the population what they done and what happened and what really is going on, because the population is a prison. So before and after. So if there was a nuclear waste site in the one over, sorry about that, if there's a nuclear waste site over here, in that picture before, then where is it now, right? In this one here. Say, did all these nuclear waste sites, holding sites, throughout that 400 kilometers where everybody died, where all the nuclear power plants are, they don't keep everything at the plant. They, like America, they have nuclear waste sites throughout their country. And who knows if we'll find any of that. They have nuclear waste sites throughout the country. Let me try one more. No. 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 Oh, well, let's keep going. Okay, so if there was a nuclear holding site of reactors in these areas, and there were 15 of them, how do you think they fared? How are you going to get power into something that don't exist? Total, complete, and utter chaos. 30 million bags, don't care where, just put it somewhere. We can get to the 2020 Olympics, that's all that really matters. Who cares if everybody's breathing this stuff all day long? And in 10, 20, 30 years, they get cancers and die. Because it'll be a lot quicker than that, depending on where you go, of course. But this, if there's a nuclear holding site, storage sites, this was the nuclear power plant, which it's hard to get those pictures, but these are the pictures in that same zones where all these power plants were too, where all those people died. Right, so all those power plants are in the same spot where all those people died. All those people died are in the spots I'm showing you in all these pictures. They died because everything was wiped out. We got to stop Japan's multiple melter reactors. Is the only way you can really describe it. And we got to do it now. The longer we wait, the less life we're going to have. We already have an extinction event in the Pacific Ocean. We've done 260 days, 15,000 miles of the coastline. You can find that documentation up at the nuclearproctologist.org. I just come back off the ocean 2 weeks ago out in Banfield, west coast of British Columbia, Canada, Vancouver Island, where there's 14 species left out of 7,200. 14. And when I went to the research center to ask them why they didn't report on it, why I only found 14 species, they see me coming and ran out and barred me and said, Dana Durnford, you're not allowed here. Get out. Unbelievable. Unimaginable. Inconceivable. But yet that is exactly what happened. And I documented it and put it up there when I came home, right, in a 4-hour video to tell that story, to show that documentation. Remember, the government has already made me take down 300 of these presentations. Like this. Because you're not supposed to know this. You're not supposed to see this. You're not supposed to understand that. You're not supposed to be able to wrap your mind around what you're looking at. No one's allowed to come out and say, hey, there's nuclear waste sites throughout the whole area. Yeah, nuclear power plants there. And everything got mauled. Everything got mauled. Nothing walked away from this. Nothing escaped it. It looks all good now, but give it 2 or 3 minutes, and then it's like that. And it's catastrophic. We're almost through. Let's finish it out. And, because I know we're coming up to the end of the stream here, but it's an abandoned because, not just because of the damage, right? Not just because of the tsunami, not just because of that. It's abandoned because of the radiation. And it should be, and it should always be. So if there's nuclear waste sites, storage sites, holding sites, nuclear material there, where do you think it went before that happened to it, as that happened to it? There's nuclear holding sites, waste sites, nuclear power plants right along that stretch of the coastline. And there was that same stretch of there is the same stretch where all those people died. It's the same stretch we're talking about where all the People are missing in the yellow, all the ones that died in the red. Died because that came in like that. And done this, shit like this. This is Fukushima Daiichi, which is the only one they talk about. But we know there was 15 plants that got the same fate. I know these are not the highest quality, but they tell the story, don't they? Look at this. This is the whirlpools as the tsunami's peeling along the coastline after. There's holding sites, nuclear waste sites, nuclear material. Where did it go? Oh, it's fine. Dana's okay. Dana, don't worry about it. Dana, don't talk about it. Dana, don't have to, Dana's none of your business, Dana. Yeah, you just kill the Pacific Ocean. You kill the Pacific Ocean. And look at this thing down here in the bottom right-hand corner. That's humanity coming in. Right? That's pretty amazing, eh? Just burn it right up and start helping people. And that's the Americans, I would imagine. And he's there with a plow to build a road now so he can bring more stuff in. Look at the devastation, though. Never mind a pretty bow. Look at what you're looking at. And realize that's why all those people died throughout that whole area, the exact same area where there's all those nuclear power plants. All those nuclear power plants. No, they're okay, Dana. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's another good shot of Unit 4 right there. I'll bring it up. Hang on. Oh, Dana. Damn it. And do this the hard way. That's the bottom of Unit 4. Look with the structure on it to the right-hand side of it. The structure doesn't mean nothing. It's irrelevant. It's an empty... it was meant to confuse you and make you argue with people like me who's showing you documentation so you couldn't wrap your mind around it unless you took the time. But because it would demonize people like me, you won't give me the time. You won't give me a chance. You won't look at the documentation. You criticize me. You attack me, not the documentation that I provide, and I'm the only person on the planet that's pulling this off. And I'm apparently the worst person on the planet. I know for sure I'm the most hated person on the planet, according to all the PR firms that attack me relentlessly, to the things that are done to me constantly, But do I go away? No. Do I give up? No. Do I go to war? Yes. Do I stand my ground? Of course. Is it hard? Of course it is. Is it a nightmare? Yes. Has it consumed every aspect of my life? Yes. Because I dare talk about this, everything has been attacked, including me. Vilified in the media. Do I go away? No. Do I have to go away? No. Should I go away? No. Would I go away if I was somebody else? I might. If I didn't have the thick skin that I got, I would have a long time ago. And if I didn't understand the importance of it, I would give it up, sure. If even though there's no solution, because we're not going to be given an opportunity without fighting for it, without going to battle, without going to wars, anyway, we're ever going to get an opportunity to save the planet, because a handful of people are insisting upon destroying me, because they see me as the resistance only. They don't see you. They don't care about you. They care about the guy who's coming here and is able to articulate it out. That's the one that they fear the most. Somebody that actually uses their voice. Not somebody that repeats the shit that they put out there, the nonsense, the garbage, the filth. I don't live in that world. I live in a world of factual information. So I document it. I don't need to show you any of this to justify what I say. I don't need to go through this song and dance with anybody to justify the things I do. And I'm not somebody special. I'm not like that. I'm unique in that context, but I'm not nobody special. I'm just a normal, everyday person who said, I'm not going to sit here and let these people do this to us. I'm not going to sit here and allow this to happen to us. I'm not going to just sit back and pretend that I can't do anything, that I'm just one person, that how could I possibly make a difference? My cigarettes don't have 7,000 chemicals. There's one way. It's not because I don't like the corporations. I don't want to give them my money. Just I don't think I should smoke 7,000 chemicals. And it's always that way with the camera in it. So we'll finish it off without a camera. Whatever. Let's burn through the last couple of pictures. There's only like 10 pictures left. Let's get them out while we still can. So they wipe everything off because everything was killed, but all the nuclear power plants were fine. All the nuclear holding sites were fine. All the nuclear... like they've been dumping in landfills and everything like that for a long time. So that's all gone too. See, it's all wiped out. The trains were all torn apart. Think about how much is there. Think about the enormity of what we're talking about, 30 million bags. That's not 30 million there because there's all these sites throughout the whole fucking area. Because everything was wiped out. You think any nuclear plants, any nuclear storage facilities, any radiation, any of the hospitals with all that radioactive material, all the construction companies with their radioactive material, you think that fucking survived there? Abandon this, abandon that, just run. Run because of the radiation. That wasn't tsunami, that's radiation. Before and after. It's probably the strangest picture imaginable. 2 pictures to go. I'll come in and say goodnight to everybody. Good day to everybody. Hugs for everybody. And we ended on the worst picture imaginable, where the animals were abandoned and left to starve to death. The epitome of stupid. And there's nothing you can do because it's nuclear. That's what nuclear is. Nuclear is stupid. Nuclear, nuclear is the stupidest freaking thing imaginable. And all these people died throughout that whole area because that came through their neighborhood. That's the same neighborhood as nuclear power plants. So let's come over and say goodnight to everybody. I'll come back to that one. Dana's not in the corner. Hang on, I can bring myself up in another camera. Just take a second before we call it a day. Take a second. Hi, everybody. Just got to do a quick adjustment here. I got a fourth camera that I haven't piped in. I don't even know how to bring that up. There I am. Up here. Right above that screen over here. Remember, I'm always looking that way. If I can get that other camera to stay on, I'll play with it again today. I'm going to be playing with the audio again today to try to get that resolve the rest of the audio. We're doing pretty good. Hi, Illusion. And, plant hemp everywhere. That's right. But plant organic food everywhere, too, so the insects can feed on stuff. Lawrence, hugs, my friend. Cruising. Shanikin. William. Demon. You don't want to buy what's called made in Japan. No. Hi, Aptors. Hugs, everybody. Be strong. Hi, everybody. Elaine. Sean. Gary. Jan Brooks. Miss Milky the Clown 1. Hi, everybody. Hugs for everybody. It's hard to read on that screen over here, but I'm doing pretty good. More practice. Jake. Birthday boy for Jake. Nathan. And everybody I don't get to. Hugs for everybody. I know I don't. And you can't. I'm talking to the people that happen to be commenting. I know there's so many people out there. And hugs for everybody that's out there in TV land. And on their cell phones and laptops and tablatures and iPads and everything else. Yeah, hugs for everybody. Just making sure. Hi, Gary. Making sure I got everybody. Neb Killer. And hopefully the audio was reasonable this time. I know Friday I buggered it up and had to post a video, redub it, and pop it back up. I got to spin that camera back down towards me a little bit, but it works okay if I look up, right? The idea was I was supposed to be able to look at the screen and kind of be able to glance back and forth instead of always shifting my head to do it. But I got to get that middle camera working because I can't afford, and it's not no big deal. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to buy the proper cameras are like $1,800. The cheap ones, the studio cameras, that's when I can do the 3D effects. And I'll get that at some point. We'll raise money at some point. Right now, I'm not worried about it. We got to go to court in 2 weeks. And so we'll raise a bit of money next week, early next week, because it takes 5 days to go on my account. I'm still in good shape to go to court. It's 3 days, it's 6 hours a day. You got to take a couple of ferries. That's 5 hotel rooms. We're going to have to get there early because we never even made it the last time. And so next week we'll do a couple of little fundraisers to raise another $500 or $600, $700, whatever I figure I'm going to need. Because I got to go down to that court for coming ashore off the ocean after 260 days. 260 days on the ocean, and I done the whole coastline instead of looking healthy. Just a quick explanation for anybody who's not familiar. We done 15,000 miles of the coastline in this boat here, and we also had a little dinghy. Instead of being a magic, incredible, inconceivable, unbelievable, it was naked. It was horrific. It was a nightmare. And we spent 260 days on the boat, up to 5 months without coming home. And when I did come home, after 5 months, they arrested me, and I got to go to court finally. After 5 appearances, a dozen ferries, a dozen taxis, a dozen hotel rooms, thousands and thousands of dollars. And these people are probably not even going to show up. But if I don't show up, then I'll be guilty. So I have to go down and just, they do show up, I got to be able to fight them. I haven't even talked to a lawyer yet. I got to do that this week, hopefully. Not that that matters. They're only going to do what I tell them to do, tell them to ask. I'm defending myself. They're just there to assist me. And so I'm not going to be giving anything away to them. There's no need to. It's just going to confuse everybody. Hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, British Columbia, Canada time, right here at Beautiful Girl by Dana, live streaming 5 days a week again. And we'll see everybody then. Hugs, everybody.